Thank you, Jimmy. As Jimmy mentioned, I'm presenting this project on behalf of my friend. He couldn't come because of the visa issue. And hopefully I can do it in the way that I communicate the ideas, because it's a well-deserved project to be discussed in WAF, and also it shows the qualities behind what he did. So the project actually is located in Madagascar. In Africa, it's a little island. It's apart from Africa, but still related to it. And it's for Office of National Environment Authority. So just a glimpse, like how the project started. I think it's maybe I need a technical help here. Yeah. Okay, so actually the island itself has its own heritage, because it was one of the well-kept islands with a very biodiversity in terms of the greenery and the species, and also the animals there. This happened since long time, and when it's being colonized by the French, everything changed. Not even the environment, but also the built environment. So this is the map that is showing where is the location of the island to Africa. And also, I want to highlight there is a lot of good architecture that you can, local and sensible architecture that happening in Africa. And I think Madagascar was one of them. So in the map here on the right, you can see really that our project is located on the center of the heart of the island. This photos is showing the vast biodiversity of the place, which is it will be kept for a long time, and it's unique by itself. The local people already developed as a more sensible and sensitive architecture that it already has relevance to the context. So as you see the images on the left side here, it's very fascinating to me, because it's a very responsive architecture that the ground level, it's very porous. It's always from light material, so it's allowed the air and to get the humidity even out. And because it's extremely raining there, so they have this kind of pitched roofs, which is with very narrow angle. So the images on the top is showing how the local people have this kind of adaptive responsive to the situation of the environment there. However, the photo in the below, it's from the French time, like which is it was 150 years back. So it's completely different. And this is something really we can expand on the discussion. The colonization, even it didn't respect the people, but in my opinion also didn't respect the land, because it's not a good act to happen, because they came with them superimposed architecture into the place. But not only this, also they destroyed, they governed the land, they restricted the forests, and also they started to export this kind of native species out of the country. So I think this is another damage happened during this time. So the photo on the top right here is really showing this damage that happened to the environment, and what I call it declination, and how they dealt with the land with irrespective manner. So actually the project is already located, and I want to highlight this. The topography of the island, it's very interesting, because it's very steep, and most of the public buildings which is being built for the noble layer before, it was on the top. So the project, it will really be well seen from different perspectives and different angle. So speaking about the building itself, it's a very interesting idea, because those local people, they don't they don't deal with LEED or Stidama or BREEAM or like this kind of international standards. They have their own local organization, local authority that it's really keen about giving permits and regulations for the built environment, which is it will be the headquarter or the office, which is called which is Office of National Environment. So the building actually, it has a quite funny story because it started as a post office, then it's been turned into the radio channel, and lately it became the office of the national environment. So during this time, there is a lot of changes happened to the building, but it still kept one of the DNA of the architecture of it, which came already from the French time. But with the time, this something is happening a lot. Like, even this kind of architecture still kept unchanged. But sadly, in 2020, it's got burned, and thanks to God, because it's very rainy there, it's the fire, it stopped almost from 3 to 6 hours, so it didn't destroy completely, but it's kept almost 50% of being kept. So this photo is after the fire and what remains from the building. So we see here that the upper roof's been damaged, but it shows the main skeleton of the building is still in a good shape. So this is the team when they visited the site. They comment what the current situation, and they started really actually by this design process. It was very simple because they are aware and sensitive where they built. So first of all, really they started how to give another life for this building, and I think this is the most creative thing about adaptive reuse, or reuse, you give another life, extra life for an existing structure, and it extend the time of it. And they learn from the nature, because this is a photo from a closest building that, despite what's happened to the building, but the nature is trying to take over, which is, I think it's like a very poetic message that it's like, remember us, what happened there, that it's a very beautiful land, and the nature is really in dialogue with the built environment, not against it. So this photo, it was one of the most powerful photos that encouraged really the design team to come up with the concept. So first of all, what they did, so they based them design rooted into the wisdom, the collective wisdom of the Madagascar people, which is, it came from a very simple thing, that it always them homes, it's very pure rectangle with a column in the middle and this kind of beautiful pitched roof. So it's bringing back the memory of the traditional architecture of the community, but in our time, as I will explain later. The second one, really, it was how they allow the nature to be to have a dialogue with the building. So instead of doing a hard edge building, which is keep the people away from them, they back to the collective wisdom of the people there by having this kind of living skin, which is very porous. So again, it's a kind of drawing a lens between the contemporary architecture and also the traditional architecture of the place. The third one, despite that this building, again, it's a foreigner to the culture, but it's a matter of respect for the community, is to keep this memory as a part of the layer of the collective memory of a nation. So they kept the building, and they start really with first step is doing a very careful restoration. This careful restoration actually is about closing or opening the windows, which is being closed before restoring the brick, beautiful brick work on the building. So trying to bring the building to the quality that it was. Then adding a new program, because the organization already, or the office, need extra programs. So they added on top of the existing one. And it was a very interesting situation that they started really to create this inner lung with a courtyard for the vertical circulation. So taking the people from below, going up in a very poetic journey, that the heart of the building is actually what gives life to it. And started to carve these courtyards, because this part, it will be mainly about the labs, but there is some communal activities, so they put it on the corner. As I mentioned before, it will be high in the topography, so the building, it will be seen beautifully from different angles, and it will be like a visual marker for the city. Then they started really to bring this idea of living skin, so it's very porous, and for me it's really important when we do this reuse to be honest. whatever built in the past to keep in its age, and whatever we add, so we keep this gap between the time very clear, so we don't confuse the people in the future which one were built in each time. Then this idea of blurring the boundaries between the street edge and the building by having the courtyards and the feel of the spaces. So actually, I feel that this facade is a kind of invention, and I will speak later in details on this. So they did the ground floor, it's more porous. Again, it's a reflection to the local architecture, and make it public, because the public building, it's really important to have this kind of public face, like it's a soft threshold between the community and the building itself. And the facade, it's become more it's a low-tech technique, but it's very clever. And I think this is what we call to build with sensibility for the community, to know what is the edge that local people can do. If it's in the Switzerland, we can do it differently, but I think if in Africa, we can use another techniques that suits the community. So it's collecting the rainwater, because it rains a lot there, going to this beautiful thin tubes, and by the idea of the weight, it brings the water into this living facade. So because it's a national environment office, so they have this kind of indigenous and native species that nobody see it. So imagine this facade, it will be exhibition of what's happening inside. It's like showing the work, what's happening inside, to the larger community outside. And if there is no rains, because if it doesn't rain, and sometimes it works as a pre-soleil or a second skin that bring also some shades and wind to the building. So I think it's very simple technique, but effective in a way that it gives the building character, and also it works with the sustainability in very low-tech manner. So this is the photos of the building after it get burned, and this is how it will look like. So I like actually the way that how it's dissolved to meet the sky. So it's very heavy base, but when it comes to meet the sky, it's very light. And this idea also of tapering, it helps a lot. So it's when the two things work together, the architecture static and also the other goals, I think it's very important here. So other views for the, I think it's here on the scheme, but it's not showing yes, it works now. Yeah, so this is the image from above, from the street level. It shows how the two buildings work together with this kind of canyon, or the vertical cuts that even it scale the building from a huge crown to more intimate and humane scale. And it looks different from each angle, because the cuts, it keep moving and making the building more lighter on the top, and shows the time space, the gap between the two buildings in terms of the time, and this how it meets the sky. So it kind of a contemporary treatment for an old traditional way. And at light, it looks as a lantern, which is, I think it's very positive that the building has dual code reading during the day and the night. And this is a different angle. And from inside, this is how it looked like, the inner courtyard that they created. It's very lush green. I think it's a kind of curious moment that they put already the exhibition on the lower floor that explain the history of this building, but most important, the history of the environment of them country. And this is the core, which is take the people from below floors to upper floors to experience the upper exhibitions. Yeah, thank you so much. I hope I communicate the effort that the team did, and hopefully I did the job. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Islam. I think you've given us a good idea of the project.
Good, thank you.